My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my list of my favorite Game of Thrones episodes. And there'll be spoilers for the show, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then come back and watch this video. But anyways, these are the top 10. There were a few that were close to making this list, but if I'm being honest, I felt very confident in this top 10, so let's get started. My 10th favorite episode is the second episode of season 4, and it's The Line and the Walls. Now, I think that this episode builds to Joffrey's death so perfectly, as you just get reminded of how despicable he is throughout it, and just how he picks on Tyrion. Tyrion stands up to him and he just pushes back and back on him. He just takes advantage of his power and tries to humiliate him, and you just hate him. You want him to die, and then he dies. No one saves him. He drops dead. And you're just like, finally, someone finally did it. It is such a satisfying moment. That character is so evil and vile, and it was a long time coming to him. And also on top of that, we also get some great work with Tyrion here, as he understands the danger that Shay's in, and how she's jealous between his marriage with Sansa, and how he does the right thing and pushes her away, and she just completely takes it the wrong way. And it's a really emotional scene, because you see that Tyrion does love her, and it's an act of love, but it's just not taken that way. And I think there's some great depth there, and yeah, this episode's fantastic. My 9th favorite episode is Blackwater. This is the only episode of season 2 to make this list, not because it's a bad season, it's quite the opposite. It's a great season, but this is the one episode in season 2 that I felt like it really stood out to me, and so much of it built to this fight, and it delivers. We just see Tyrion be the brilliant man that he was in the first half of the show, and it's so satisfying to see. He comes up with a plan, lots of it does work, and when he blows up all those ships in the wildfire and you've got the green fire, it's so visually stunning to look at. But when everything goes wrong and Joffrey is terrified and everyone's leaving and doesn't know what to do, we see Tyrion step up to it and do the right thing. And the fact that he never gets any bit of recognition or credit for it just adds to the tragic nature of this character. And the action here is really great. You got yourself some great brutality. It's tense and thrilling in moments, and I feel like it delivers in everything. So that's why it's my 9th favorite episode. My 8th favorite episode is yet another big battle episode, and it's the Watchers on the Wall. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to put this higher up, but the top 7 are so good, and this episode will have to settle for 8th place. But man, I love it. Just seeing the wildlings come to the wall, and you get the sense that the Night Watch aren't these great, competent soldiers. They're screwing up all the time. There's one part where someone accidentally gets him and a bunch of others killed. And that just makes it feel all the more realistic. But you've got the wildlings trying to get through the tunnel, you've got some coming up the wall, you've got them attacking head on. They're just coming in all directions. You've got yourself some great action, some great tension, it's thrilling, but you've also got the emotional weight between Ygritte and Jon. And when Jon sees her and she's ready to kill him, and he just does that little smile, it's such a small moment, but man, I love it. I really do. And when she dies, I understand that someone was defending Jon, but it still has weight behind it, and it's not like he got her, it's he had to. And it does have emotion behind it, so that's why this episode is number 8. My 7th favorite episode is the only episode in the second half of this series to make this list. I was getting near the end of season 6, and I'm just like, is there not going to be a single episode of the last 33 that will make this list? But then we got to Battle of the Bastards. In the first half of this episode, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't really find the Daenerys and Tyrion stuff in this season to be all that good. But once we get to the Jon and Ramsay stuff, it is just freaking phenomenal. You know, as Recon is running towards John and John's trying to save him, and Ramsey keeps missing on purpose only so he could kill him while John gets close enough to save him. And Recon's not a great character. It's not like I was upset he died, but you still feel for John in that moment, and the fact that they start firing all those arrows so he has to move ahead, and then his army's behind him, and then his horse gets shot down. I've talked about this scene plenty of times, but when John just takes out his sword and he's ready to face that army, just him against them, and the music picks up, it is the moments that I live to see in big battles like this. It's got so much emotion behind it. You feel the stakes, you feel what he's up against, and it also just cements his character as like he's ready to die if he has to, but he's still going to fight till his dying breath, no matter how outnumbered he may be. And then the army comes in and it's just chaotic. Horses are falling down, arrows are everywhere. He's trying to survive. It's just chaotic, and then you feel some claustrophobic nature of war later on. And when the soldiers of the Veil come in, it doesn't feel like a Deus Ex Machina because it's been so well built up to. So I love that. And then when John faces off against Ramsey and beats him, and he's so close to killing him, but then he looks over at Sansa and he decides to give her that pleasure. That's a great moment. The second half of this episode, you've got yourself some great action, some great emotion, some great music. Very well made. Love it. My sixth favorite episode is You Win or You Die. As soon as Robert is injured and Ned goes sees him and they're talking, and Robert tells him that Stannis will take over until Joffrey is of age, and Ned kind of changes his words, and then it kind of becomes this game between Ned and Cersei about who's going to get their way. And it's just so tense, especially because Ned just told Cersei he knows what she's up to. So you know that he kind of said too much too soon. It's that honorable quality that kind of does him dirty. And you're just like, is Ned going to get his way? And they're both preparing for the face-off. And then when Ned finds out that Robert is dead, it's got weight behind it, and that King Joffrey would like to see him. You're just like, shit. And just when he walks in and Joffrey's on that throne and Cersei rips up the paper, you feel so hopeless for Ned. The only chance he has is the men around him, and then he gets betrayed, and it's so good. It is fucking phenomenal. And then we get the payoff of that in episode 5, Baelor. Now I should mention that I like everything with Robb here, where he outsmarts the Lannisters and he gets Jaime. That's some really great stuff. But the reason why this episode is so far up this list is because of Ned's execution. The first time I watched this show, I was just like, okay, how is he going to get out of this? What Deus Ex Machina is going to come about? Is Arya going to be the one to save him? Like, come on, that's going to be dumb. And I kept waiting for something to happen. And then he said everything that he didn't believe, and I'm just like, okay, so that's it. But then Joffrey's like, no, he's going to die. I'm just like, okay, well, how's he going to get out of this? And then he actually dies. And you're just like, it changes everything. It is the moment that changed this entire show, that revolutionized it. Because now no one feels safe, and that if you're a good, honorable man, you will pay the price. And the fact that his last concerns was making sure that Arya didn't see him die just has some real emotion behind it. And the fact that he said all that stuff to protect Sansa, his last moments were spent trying desperately to protect them the most he could. And it's still one of the greatest moments of the show. My fourth favorite episode, you're going to notice something about 3 of my next 4 choices, but my fourth favorite episode is A Mountain the Viper. Now we got the stuff here where Reek is pretending to be Theon, and he takes back Winterfell for Ramsay. And I think Alfie Allen's performance here is just fantastic. But it just shows you how far gone this character truly is. We also got the scene where Sansa defends Littlefinger, and she shows her growth for the very first time this entire show. We also got the storyline where Daenerys finds out about Joel. That has some weight behind it. But what really makes this episode is the ending. Tyrion's got Oberyn and he's not too sure about it. And it turns out Oberyn's this fantastic warrior. He's like doing flips all over the place. He's energized. He's set to kill the Mountain. And at first you're not sure if he's going to succeed, but then you see him gain the upper hand and he's talking to him about wanting to avenge his sister. And you're just like, okay, come on, finish the job. I'm with you on your quest, but please get him. And he gets him on the ground, and he could have killed the Mountain, but he won't stop bringing up his sister, and he gets distracted. And one of the biggest shocking moments of the show, the Mountain throws him down to the ground, pops his head like a balloon, and you're just like, shit. Like, that just went bad really fast, and you feel hopeless for Tyrion. Absolutely phenomenal. Love it. My third favorite episode is The Laws of God and Men. Now, I love the scene where Yara goes to rescue Theon and he refuses to be rescued because he's now weak. It just shows you the tragic nature of this character so perfectly. It has weight behind it. There's lots of other great things going on, but the reason why this episode is so high up is because of everything with Tyrion and trial. And I've quoted it time and time again. I think I did it in my season's ranking video. I think I did it in my season 4 review. So I'm not going to do it again here. But I just love this moment because Tyrion is hurt. He's watching all these people just talk shit about him. And he doesn't kill all too much. But then it gets to Shay, someone who he loved. And she gets on stand and she just makes up the most obvious deliberate lies to sabotage him. And that line just, Shay, don't. That look in his eyes, it's some of the finest acting this entire show. Actually, I'm going to say it is. You just see this broken man, and he just snaps. And everything that he's wanting to say his entire life, he's just saying it. The amount of hate that his family has shown him because he's a dwarf. The fact that Joffrey was a sick piece of shit who did deserve to die. It's all coming out now, and you feel it. And it's satisfying. And when he's just like, I know I'll get no justice. I said I wasn't going to do it. But when he demands a trial by combat, it has so much weight. And I love how everyone's reacts differently. Like, Oberyn leans forward like, this is my chance. And I also love the fact that he calls Tywin father and Tywin calls him the prisoner. It says a lot. But the way that after Tyrion demands a trial by combat, the music into the credits, it's perfection. But now we get to the top two, and I'm not going to lie, these two were very tough to decide which one comes first. And I'm still not entirely sure. But I think in second place, I'm going to actually change it last second and say The Children. This is a fantastic episode. It is. It wraps up season 4 so perfectly, and in some ways, even though it wouldn't leave some loose threads, I feel like it could also be the perfect finale. It just has that feel to it, and it will be my series finale on every rewatch. But for Tyrion to be rescued by Varys and Jaime, who comes through, is very nice to see, but he goes up to kill his father, and he sees that he's been lying with Shay. And he's just devastated, and he has to kill her, and it's very tragic. And then he goes to see his dad, and his dad's taking a shit, and you just see Tywin trying to find his way out of this situation, and he can't. Tyrion's just too broken. He can't be reasonless, and he kills him. And it's satisfying, but it's very heartbreaking at the same time. But then Tyrion escapes, and then it cuts to Arya just on a horse, and the way the music picks up here, it just feels grand, it feels epic, it feels emotional. And as she runs from the back of the ship, looking ahead, she's not looking back anymore. You just feel the weight of everything that these characters have gone through, and it's so perfect. It's one of those moments I just love. And I do love the moment with Arya and the Hound as he faces off against Brienne, and then she leaves him there. Some really great stuff, but yeah, this episode is really terrific. But the best episode of the series, I have to go with the Reigns of Casteral. Arya is so close to reunite with her family. So close. But then everything goes wrong with the Frey wedding. And all of Rob's mistakes and shortcomings catch up to him. And I love the build-up when the music starts playing and Catelyn starts to think something's off. And then she realizes that Roose Bolton is wearing armor. And what's about to happen. And when Talisa gets stabbed in her stomach, you're just like, holy fuck. And then she gets killed and everyone's dying and it has so much weight behind it. It is heartbreaking and tragic and brutal and relentless, and a bit of you can't believe it when you're watching it. Very few shows have moments like this. And the fact that Arya's so close and she just gains a sense of what's happening from outside and the Hound comes to get her out of there. I think that's a great moment. And then Robb just loses the will to live as he watches his wife and unborn child die. And he gets killed. And Catelyn just can't handle it. She's so desperate and she's got Walder Frey's wife knife up to her throat and he's just like, I'll marry another. It just shows you how evil this man is. And when she cuts the girl's neck and she just lets out that one final scream, it is some of the finest acting in this entire show. And you just see and hear her losing the will to live as she gets killed. All the good guys, all the people we were rooting for just got killed off like that. And very few shows will have moments like this. It is so freaking brilliant and so devastating. And it's my favorite episode of the entire series. But what are your favorite episodes of the entire series of Game of Thrones? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin out.